Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you an actual demonstration of how our Expert Advisor works. The MetaTrader 5 terminal has a visualization mode, which basically allows me to do a very quick automated backtest, and you can all see in real time how the EA is placing and managing orders on the chart. Now, after this demonstration, I'm going to show you all some backtesting data, and we're going to break that down because we made some improvements to the coding of our EA to drastically improve performance. I'm going to try and get to all of these details today, so make sure you stick around till the end. I only upload every few weeks or so on this YouTube channel, guys, and oftentimes I miss a lot of things. Like, I don't script these videos, so I try my best to include all the information, but naturally I miss a few things. I'm only human, right? So I would advise you to follow my Instagram account at Currency Pros. You can follow my personal account as well if you'd like. The link is in the description of this video because I post stories there almost every day. So you can keep up with EA updates and the real-time trading performance because I'm posting there constantly throughout the trading week. When it comes to YouTube, the videos are few and far between, so it's hard for me to get all the information in, and then the gap between videos leaves a lot of you wondering what's going on. So please follow me on Instagram and keep up to date with things. Now, enough rambling, let's get right into the video. So I'm just setting up a backtesting session here. I've got the EA loaded, I've got gold loaded, it's on the minute chart. I'm just going to do last month, or pretty much all of August, so from the 1st until the 22nd, so not a full month, but it'll still be a good visualization. And I have it set to a $10,000 deposit in US dollars at 1 to 500 leverage. So let's go ahead and start this. All right, let me slow this down a little bit. So while we're waiting for some trades to place, you can see that there's 2 stop orders set here. Let me explain the changes that we've made. So in the last video, I basically broke down how the EA operates, and it's based on the previous day's high and the previous day's low. So basically it's a breakout strategy. We set sell stops at the previous day's high and low. Let me just zoom out because you should be able to see it here. I'm going to have to really zoom out because the daily levels look very far away on the 1 minute time frame. So there you can see there's 2 daily levels. It's even labeled daily, so you know which one it is. There's a take profit, a stop loss, of course, and then a buy stop and a sell stop. So these 2 orders are placed every single day. Now, we've made 2 major changes. One is we changed how the trades are managed. So in the original code, we had a trailing stop loss. We still now have a trailing stop loss, but we gave it a bit more breathing room. And what this actually did was significantly improve the overall risk to reward ratio because the trades aren't getting stopped out as quickly. So the wins are now larger, which of course, again, improves risk to reward and also makes it easier to recover from a loss. Now, the next major change that we made is, in addition to the previous day's high and low, we also added sessions. So we've got Asian session, London session, and New York session. Now, throughout our extensive testing, which I'm going to show you very shortly, we noticed that the London session was the best performing session. Asian session technically increased profitability, but it was overall just too choppy and it made the equity curve less smooth. So by only including London session in combination with the previous day's high and low, we saw a drastic improvement from the last video I made where I showed you all the backtesting results. So enough rambling, let me speed up this little tester here and we can hopefully see some orders be activated soon. So let me pause for a second because now we've crossed into London session and we can see another 2 orders being placed. So this is what I was talking about. Now we have a total of 4 orders, a buy stop and a sell stop for the previous day's high and low, and another buy and sell stop for London's high and low. So now that we're adding these intraday levels, we can actually really increase the trade frequency, which again can recover from losses faster and overall just create more results. Now, just to keep things clean, we've added labels for the sessions as well. So it will say London session. I hope you can see that here. So let me go ahead and continue this. All right, so right away we've gotten tagged into this London buy stop order. So you can see that blue arrow there. I'm not going to talk for every order, by the way, but I just want to explain what's going on here before I continue. So tagged in at that blue arrow there, where that green line is, there's a blue arrow. And currently price is in a bit of drawdown. As you can see, it's negative $366. Let's see where this one turns out. Okay, so I hope you caught that. If you didn't, rewind it because that happened pretty quickly. I didn't mean to go that fast, but very quickly you saw that as price moved into profit, right around here, the stop loss was all the way down here somewhere, and then it quickly trailed up to basically break even. Okay, it goes a few pips into profit actually to accommodate for commission and spread and whatnot. The stop loss was moved slightly into profit, basically break even, and it trails by 10 pips. So as price goes another 10 pips in profit, the stop loss trails 10 pips behind it. So what we saw there was a pretty significant win. We got $566 profit on this $10,000 account. So due to the nature of a trailing stop loss, we're not always going to see full take profits being hit. However, from the testing that we performed, we noticed that a full take profit was hit every few days on average. And in the meantime, profits like this are still very significant. That's a very healthy profit. The take profit wasn't too far off. So let me continue this little test here and we'll see how it performs. It looks like we're approaching the daily level 2. Yep, there we go. So it moved into break even really quickly and then hit the trailing stop loss. So now we're up to $11,166 on this $10,000 account. So because it's a breakout strategy, we really benefit from impulsive moves like this. And that's what we're betting on basically. We place these buy and sell stop orders at these key levels and we're betting on momentum. However, we're aware that a lot of the time these key levels can act as liquidity areas as well. So price can sweep liquidity from these major highs and lows and then quickly reverse. And that is the main benefit of the trailing stop loss, because with the trailing stop loss, that keeps us safe against potential liquidity grabs. Of course, it can still not work out in our favor and we can get a full loss. That definitely happens. But overall, this has a very high win rate. So you can see that the London buy and the daily buy has now been taken out. Both were profitable trades. So we have left remaining the sell stop for London and the previous day's sell stop. So those are still there. Now at the end of the day, the EA will automatically delete these orders. So they'll disappear shortly. So there you have it. The orders were deleted and now we have a new order. However, we only have one order, so it's a sell stop. Now this can happen from time to time. Whenever the market opens and there's a gap above the previous day's high or previous day's low, then we don't get an order in that instance. So right now we only have a sell stop because the buy, you can see there was a gap right here actually. Let me try and zoom in on that. There was a gap in price right here. That gray line, the horizontal gray line, is the previous day's high and we gapped up ahead of that. So that kind of cancels out the order. So we don't have that order for today, only the sell stop. I'm sure we'll get London orders though, so let's continue this. All right, so there we have our first loss. So you can see that sometimes this does not work in our favor. This was a liquidity sweep of London sessions high. So we got tagged into a buy stop order at London's high right there. Price basically swept liquidity from the high and then went towards our stop loss. It doesn't happen often, but it does of course happen. If price just moved even slightly further into profit, our trailing stop loss would have immediately jumped to break even and we would have been protected. We would have been risk-free. But of course, in this instance, it ended up being a full loss, which is okay. Let's see how fast we can recover from that. All right, so I'm going to really try and slow down this next trade. As you can see so far, we've had a bunch of break-evens, we've had a bunch of small wins, we've had some full take profits as well, and we've also had a few losses, unfortunately. But as you can see, the balance is still very positive. Now, I'm risking 2 lots per position here, which is pretty significant on a $10,000 account. Because of the win rate, because of the other statistics with this EA, I'm comfortable risking a significant amount of money on this. Now at the top dashboard here, it says current risk 1%. That is incorrect when using fixed lots. In the settings, I changed it to fixed lots. There's also an option in the EA settings for auto percentage risk. So if you type in a percentage, it'll do an auto lot size. So it won't be an even 1 or an even 2 lots. It would be a little bit different than that. I'm choosing to do fixed risk for the sake of simplicity here. So that 1% up there is not correct. This is more like 10%. But again, I just wanted to slow this down. I want to see the next trade happen in slow motion so you guys can really understand what's going on. And then I'm just going to let the rest of this test run until the end of the month and see what the end result is. And then we'll go over the end result and go over the backtesting results as well. And by backtesting results, I mean the 5-year backtesting report that we have put together. So let's really slow this down here and see if one of these London orders can get activated. And we'll see in real time how the trailing stop loss works. There you go. So the trailing stop loss is activated. It moved the stop loss into break even, actually slightly into profit, again to cover commission. So you can see this line right here, that red line, that is the stop loss of this green line position right here. The red arrow means we were just activated in a sell stop, and it's currently floating in profit. It looks like it's going to hit that trailing stop loss for a small win. See, the stop loss moves with it. So it's always 10 pips behind. There we go. So it's always 10 pips behind. So as price was moving lower and lower, you could see in real time that stop loss following it by a distance of 10 pips the whole time. So that is why we have such a high win rate with this. And that's why this is a very consistent long-term tool that we can use for automated trading. So enough talking now. I'm just going to speed this up to the maximum speed here, and we'll finish off this test and then discuss the results afterwards. All right, there you have it. So the back test is done. Now on an account size of starting with $10,000, we've got $4,700 profit. So that's pretty cool. Again, keep in mind with a lot size of 2 per trade, that's pretty significant risk. But let's go into the results of this back test. And here we can see we've got $4,700 profit, a profit factor of 2.96. We've got 14 short trades won, 18 long trades won. We've got 6 consecutive wins and just 1 consecutive loss. So the losses did happen. They were, of course, there. But the consecutive wins and the high win rate of this strategy recovers that loss very quickly. Now with the previous version, it was the same kind of thing, but it would take a little bit longer to recover the loss in comparison to this. So this is like within 1 to 2 trading days, you'll recover from a loss, which is fantastic. So yeah, this was a really nice test. I'm happy with this. Now that I'm done with this, I want to open up the actual official backtesting report that shows 5 years of data. So without further ado, let's get right into that. Okay, here we are on the 5-year backtesting report. So overall, this is a very smooth equity curve. I'm very happy with this. So let's take a look at some of the stats here. We have an overall win percentage of just over 75%. Now, if you watched my last video, it was closer to 90 something percent, 92% I think it was. So with the changes that we made, there's a lot of give and take here, okay? So let me try and explain this the best that I can. Whenever we make any sort of changes to the EA code, we see a give and take. We see some things benefit and other things suffer. So one thing we did notice that suffered here was the win percentage, the overall win rate. Now, keep in mind, this is still extremely healthy, but the give and take here was that we improved the risk to reward ratio. Okay, so when you have a very high win rate in the 90s, you typically don't have a very good risk to reward ratio. Now, with the improvements that we've made, we're closer to a 1-to-1 ratio. So a win percentage of 75% is extremely healthy. And just to clarify, the previous version of this EA was also very profitable. There was nothing wrong with that. But we wanted to make it a little more stable. We wanted to make it so the losses were easily recoverable. We realized that most traders are using prop firms, and also most traders have a big problem with psychology. So it's a lot easier for us to provide to others this EA that recovers from a loss in 1 to 2 days compared to taking a week to recover from a loss. So that's one of the main differences there. The reason for the huge increase in net profit is because we added in London session breakouts. So it's the same logic as the previous day breakout, but we just added London session as well. Now, when we added in Asian session, this number was actually even higher. It was in the 3,000s. However, the equity curve here was a lot choppier, and the monthly performance down here was also much more choppy. In this monthly performance, we see very few red months, and we see a very high year-to-date profit, pretty much every year except for 2020, which really underperformed. But every year after that was just phenomenal, as you can see. So in the version that we tested with Asian session enabled, with London and with the previous day's breakout, again, the net profit was higher. But like I said before, there's always a give and take. So what do we have to sacrifice in order to achieve that extreme profit? Well, we have to endure a lot more ups and downs. So it's our job, my job and the developer of Currency Pros, it's our job to provide a happy medium, a good balance between profitability and stability. So with these changes, I think we've really achieved that. And I think the response from our community members has also been phenomenal. And I think they understand this as well. One thing I forgot to clarify here is that this entire report, all of these numbers are generated using 1% risk. Okay, so that's pretty minimal. That's very conservative, and you can extrapolate that to whatever you want. If you want to risk 2% or 5% per trade, that's entirely up to you. But all of these numbers that you see here are based on just 1% risk. So we have an average monthly profit of about 5%. Overall drawdown percentage, the extreme of that would be about 23%. Now, if I recall, my developer and I, we we both did this on a live call together, like a video call. And he showed me the areas where this drawdown occurred. So the 23.31%, I believe that was right around here. It's hard to see, but in 2023, near the end of 2023, there was a big dip right there. Other than that, it might have been 2022, there was a significant dip right here. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, like this is a very upward trajectory, so very healthy. I'm not concerned with that. So let's now take a closer look at the monthly performance. So I want to clarify a few things here as well. First of all, 2025 is not complete yet. We can see it's only gone up until August, and this was the very beginning of August. Now at the time of recording, August has actually turned out to be quite profitable, but this testing was done near the beginning of August. So it shows negative 2.51. We didn't have the chance to give August the full test. And then of course, the rest of the year is at 0 because it hasn't happened yet, of course. But even with that being said, we've got a year to date so far of 57.5% profit, which is fantastic. Now, the reason I'm drawing your attention to this monthly performance is because I feel like I have to do this in every video to give people a realistic expectation of what trading is like. There are negative months, as you can see. We've got negative 9.41%. We've got negative 9.1%, right? There's a bunch of red months here. We've got basically negative 5%. These losing months will happen. Okay. And unfortunately, it's during those months where we'll get a lot of negative attention. We'll get a lot of people calling us scammers, a lot of people saying the strategy doesn't work. They'll quit, they'll sign up for something else, they'll try that, they'll fail at that, and it'll just be this perpetual cycle of just failure because they don't stick with it long enough. And it's really unfortunate. But as you can see, pretty much all of these months are followed by profitable months and the losses are recovered. Like we've got 2 months in a row here, negative. And then the following 2 months are extremely positive, making up for those negative months. And then of course, much more on top of that. And then in fact, every month for the rest of this year, 2022, was very profitable, contributing to that 60% overall year-to-date profit. So again, I just want to drill this in. If you can't survive the negative months, then you can't be a trader. It's as simple as that. You cannot profit every single week, every single month of your life. It just doesn't work like that. There's no strategy in existence that will ever be like that. You have to be able to handle those months in order to be able to experience the profitable months that follow. Now, drawing your attention to the very bottom of this backtesting report, we've got max consecutive wins, 23, max consecutive losses, 6. So this is throughout the entire 5-year period. Okay, so there's a lot of data here. As you can see, we've got thousands of trades. Yeah, the total number of trades, 3,555 out of this whole 5-year backtesting session. So out of that entire sample size, we have a max win streak of 23 and a max loss streak of 6. I imagine that 6, again, was during 2023, during that dip right there, where the significant drawdown was incurred. Now, we've ran all kinds of simulations on this. This is not martingale strategy or some sort of grid strategy or some tick arbitrage, high frequency trading strategy. It is nothing like that. This is accepted by prop firms. This is accepted by brokers. And in all the testing and all the simulations we've done, it is a smooth, long-term upward trajectory on the equity curve. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I covered a lot of information. I'm almost certain I forgot some things. But like I said at the beginning of the video, follow me on Instagram. I post a lot of stories there talking about the EA, talking about day-to-day trading. If you do have any questions about this EA or any of the information that I've shared with you here today, feel free to type it in the comments down below. But I'd like to ask, if you have any doubts about anything, just kindly ask me about it and I will gladly respond to you and talk with you about it. Instead of casting judgment and negativity and just immediately saying, oh, this doesn't work, you're a scammer, blah, blah, blah. Ask me questions and I will gladly answer those questions as detailed as I possibly can. And additionally, I have all the receipts to back this up. So if you want to DM me on Instagram or something, if you have a more specific question, I can provide you with the documentation to answer that question. I take this very seriously, guys. I'm not one of these Miami Forex gurus on the internet. This is my career. I have put everything into this, and our developer and myself have put in so much work to do this. We are working our butts off to ensure that it is a product that is nothing like anything else on the market. Expert advisors have a bad reputation on the internet because they are typically a martingale strategy or a tick scalping strategy, something that's forbidden with brokers and prop firms, something that does really good for a long period of time and then all of a sudden crashes. This is not that. So I hope that clears things up. Like I said, I don't post too often on YouTube. I'm probably not going to. I don't see any point in doing that. I don't have a schedule when it comes to social media. I just post when I feel like posting something. So don't be just eagerly waiting for updates. Go follow my other socials where I'm more active, like especially Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram compared to YouTube. And you can either watch the stories there or you can DM me directly and we can literally chat with one another. So like I said, leave a comment down below. Hopefully respectfully and coherent. If you want more information on the EA itself, you can always click the link in the description of the video. That will take you to our website where you can actually sign up and use this yourself. Eventually, we're going to cap the amount of people that are using this because we don't want thousands and thousands of people using this. So we're going to keep it pretty exclusive, but for now, it's open. So click the link in the description, head over to the website, sign up if you'd like. And we do have a full Discord community for our automation side of things. So for the EAs that we offer, there's a Discord community that comes with that. So you can talk with hundreds of other people that are using the exact same EA. There's plenty of support from myself and the developer within that community. And we're active there pretty much every day of the week. So thanks again for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're only a couple thousand subscribers away from 100,000 on this channel. I'm so excited for that. That's going to be a huge milestone. I always say this, but I appreciate each and every one of you. It really means the world to me that you take the time to watch these videos and comment in the comment section. It really means a lot for me and it gives me the motivation to keep creating this content. Because at the end of the day, I don't need to be doing this. So seeing those types of comments really keeps me going. Thanks again, guys. Talk to you soon.